Okay, I would like to celebrate and christen my new chess set that is called Floor Botvinnik Match or Botvinnik and Floor Match with games from this book that I also bought use because this is the great thing. If you go to look for books that are cheap, you can find that you find it for $10. A book that maybe is much more expensive. So this was a book by Andrew Soltis, Grandmaster Soltis, on Mikhail Botvinnik, The Life and Games of the World Champion. Grandmaster Soltis is making a great job because he's translating from Russian, probably thanks to Google Translate, a lot of stuff that we as chess players don't have access to. However, this beautiful set just arrived and I love it because it's kind of imperfect, they said, so they were selling under price, but I always wanted to see this kind of set that were used in the Soviet Union. I found strange that they had a cross over the king, because I thought under a communist regime they wouldn't have, but who knows, I mean the Soviet Union was so big. In any case, the fourth game I would like to show is this 157 School Championship Leningrad 1924 Botvinnik against A. Zilberman. It's a Queen Gambit Decline. So Botvinnik is white. And he starts with d4, d5, c4, e6. Wow, they are really easy to move also. Knight c3, knight f6. Honestly, I'm in love with this set. I like the rooks. They are really beautiful. And also the shape of the king, it's strange, you know. It's not the usual size I like. It seems this is a 3.6 or 3.8. Generally I get them from at least 4 inches forward or higher. But obviously it's a reproduction of that period. And probably in that period they had little hands and maybe they were smaller because they didn't have all the vitamins and food which we have today. Okay, I'm just joking. Bishop g5, knight b d7. So it's called the Queen's Gambit Decline, but is also known as Orthodox game. e3, bishop e7, knight f3, h6, asking obviously white what are you going to do, and white answer with bishop takes f6. So it seems that in the database this is the oldest game we have with this move, bishop takes f6. Obviously you must know that the databases we have maybe are limited because we lost paper, you know. We are speaking 1924. If I'm right, Botvinnik learned at the age of 12 to play chess, and so it means he was born in 1912 and 1924 is 12, right? I don't know, this would be interesting to discover, and I will read more in this biography. Generally, first I like to watch games, that's why I'm a little more chess oriented. Knight takes f6, bishop d3. This is not a good move. Now, I'm not saying that is bad, but generally you want to wait that black takes in order to move that, because now he moves and black should play this, because then he made him lose one tempo. That's what should happen. Obviously black wasn't good either in that time, and guess what he played? He played bishop d6. That is horrible, but it's okay. How do you punish black, obviously with the c5, you know, you gain space. This is good for white. But in the game, Botvinnik obviously wasn't the world champion in 1924, and he played queen b3. Honestly, the pieces are really heavy, so it's really pleasant also to move them. c6, castle, queen c7, c takes d5, c takes d5 again. It's a mistake, and you say why? Because here it's not written in the book, but it's clear, because white will gain the c file, so plus there is this. I don't know, why didn't he play this? I don't know, it don't make any sense. Yeah, knight b5, okay, queen b8, knight takes d6, right, correctly, and queen takes d6. So black already gave an advantage to white, but it's good, as you can see. What is the advantage? Well, black also doesn't have a bishop pair anymore, and white has the c file for the moment. Rook c1, castle, knight e5, knight d7, I don't think this is good either, knight takes d7. This is simple classical chess, Soltis writes. White enjoys the better bishop, because this, as you can see, it's a kind of French bishop, and control of the only open file, the c file. Botvinnik said that the most important book to him growing up was a Russian translation of José Capablanca Chess Fundamentals, and his play in this game shows Kappa-like tendencies. Yes, that's a beautiful book that everybody should read, I think, right? Here, black played queen takes d7. Okay, oh my god, I don't know. It's interesting, because he wants to keep this. Bishop b5, queen d6, rook c2 is starting to double on the c file, a6, bishop e2, b5, rook fc1, bishop d7, and rook c5, a great move. Why rook c5 is a great move? Because it's using the outpost, okay? Here obviously Soltis didn't comment, he just put an exclamation point. Practically you cannot dislodge white from there, especially if you will play b4, and so it could create a pass pawn, right? Rook c8, queen a3, rook takes c5, I think he plays rook d takes c5, okay, queen c6, and b4, like I said, he wants to have a pass pawn, and this is a protected pass pawn, so it's good for white. White has an advantage, now he must be able to convert it. e5, queen c3, rook e8, and bishop f3. And here there is a diagram. Here it says, it's unusual for a player so young to try to provoke e4, which makes the bad bishop worse, or to insist on trading queens when there might be easier ways to win. Okay, so generally when you have let's say in this case it's a light square bishop, you don't want to put your pawns on light square, because it will limit the range of action of a bishop. On the other hand, when you are in the endgame, you want your pawns generally on the same square of your bishop, because you can protect them from a king, for example, because kings generally go out to hunt for pawns in the endgame, right? Okay, so e4, bishop e2, rook a8, and rook a1, another exclamation point. Obviously the idea at this point is probably this. Queen g6, now it's threatening probably this, bishop h3, but honestly it's not a really good threat. Queen e5, like I said, this is ridiculous. He played a move that in any case doesn't really achieve anything. But look at what he did. White played queen g3, that's strange. I thought he would play something like this. Here in the game is not commented, it's just put that this is a dubious move. Yes, it is a dubious move because it doesn't make any sense. You don't want to exchange the queen at this point. You have a good position, why to exchange the queens? Bishop d7, bishop d1, as you can see at this point here is to open up a little the queen side, and rook c8, which is considered bad. a4, like I said, it made sense. So you see, this game maybe is played between players rated 1500, 1600, 1700, let's say. They are not master level players from the amount of mistakes. Here black continues with a5, but it seems maybe it was better something else at this point, because this is considered bad. Let's see how it continues. White makes a mistake, so try to think what should it be for white to play correctly. I think he should have played e takes f5, a takes b5, but here is not written what should have done. Let's see, and his last move was a blunder, punishable. Yeah, lucky you, I played the right move. A takes b5. You know why? Because I thought it could create a double pass pawn, so that's why I wanted it. But this is the reason, in reality. Also, when the bishop takes, I take here and it's done. So it's really great. So that's why it was a mistake. Strange that Botvinnik didn't. I mean, maybe they were already short on time. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense, because that move is easy to find. So he played this, but maybe he was afraid of this, not seeing that this solved the problem. Solve the problem, but he's afraid of this probably. But I don't know what his fear was, but clearly he didn't react correctly. So let's see what he played. He played b takes a5, very bad move. Rook takes c5, a takes b5, and here rook takes here, it's clearly a kind of mistake, not really good. a6, rook b8, a7, rook a8. And now rook a5 started the hunt for pawns, but obviously it's defendable. And now obviously the king comes into the game. That's kind of interesting. King f8, king e2. The king will get to d4 or c5, where it dooms the d5 pawn, because let's remember that there is also this. The king is also the perfect blocker of the isolated pawn, or in this case a backward pawn. Why it's the perfect blocker? Because the king value is 0. It's the most important piece in the game, because once you lose it, the game is over. But compare to stop a pawn with a queen that is a value of 9, you understand the king it's much more valuable, right, for blocking a pawn, because you are not losing any piece, any active piece practically. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so he played king e2, king e7, king d2, king d6, king c3, king c7. Now he is trying to swap. You see, black is trying to swap this rook for the king, because again, as you can see, the rook is 5 and is blocking 1. So it's kind of bad, right? So he's trying to do this swap, because if he can, he's peachy, he thinks, but not really. Because as you can see, white has a space advantage, white has a king that can enter the black position. Here it's a mess. I think it's already lost for black from a while. King b6, rook a2, rook takes a7, rook takes a7, king takes a7, and now tell me, how do you protect d5, because I'm really curious. King b6, bishop takes, king takes, and the game is over. Come on, because he's gonna hit all the pawns. Okay, beautiful game, but obviously it was full of mistakes from both sides. And this is the game number 1 that I show you from this book. Let's go to another game. So let's see how Botvinnik plays.